So, in my island update, I have great news if you're flying anywhere in Europe this week. Plus, I have quite a serious car hire warning for you. If you're still yet to rent a car over here in Mallorca, or indeed you're planning to rent a car next year, I always, as I always do, have all the cruise news for you to help you plan your day out into Palma. Plus, I've got the weather forecast for the week ahead too. And you can see that I'm over here on the far side of Playa Palmera Beach in Pagera. I had hoped to bring you some amazing, beautiful views of the turquoise blue waters, but you can see that we have a little bit of clouds here on the island today, but more about that later on in this video. But we're going to start this video with some fantastic news, and that is that the tide has turned on what was expected to be the worst week in travel in Europe, actually, with the announcement yesterday of the postponement of the French air traffic control strikes, which were planned for between Tuesday and Thursday inclusive. These have now been postponed. Now, this news has yet to filter far and wide. I have seen it being reported in French media, on Sky News, on Bloomberg and in the European press, but it hasn't been widely reported in the mainstream media. It's amazing actually that they do widely report the bad news, but they don't bring you the good news. So if you are hoping to travel this week, well, that is some good news for you. However, we are not quite out of the woods with regards to air traffic control disruption. And that is because last week when I travelled, both of my flights did pick up delays due to air traffic control disruption. For whatever reason, it wasn't a strike, it was just a disruption to the flight, and it did lead to delays. And I've seen as well on the Ryanair website, they warned of delays yesterday due to air traffic control disruption. They're warning of it again today. It's not a strike. So this strike would have caused a widespread disruption, not just to flights to and from France, but to the overflights, they call them, and that's the flights that go over France, flying to, say, Northern Europe, particularly to the UK. And Ryanair boss Michael O'Leary, he did say that it would cause the cancellation of some 600 flights, affecting 100,000 passengers. Now, it does seem that negotiations have been made and these strikes have now been cancelled, which is fantastic news. And more to the point, that no new strike date has been announced. But, you know, we're not out of the woods yet, because with these little disruptions that we're seeing here and there, we're still seeing delays on the networks. And now, admittedly, when airlines are scheduling flights, they do build in a little bit of leeway as well to account for a little bit of minor disruption within your flight. So, while we can rule out a mass strike, don't be surprised if your flight does get delayed with a little bit of disruption, and that's, you know, like I said, it could well be caused by air traffic control heading on over France. So my advice is, if you are travelling this week, expect the worst but hope for the best. Make sure you take food to the airport with you. If you want to save on the cost of food and drinks, use the drinks machines. In fact, go back and watch my flight videos as well, which I made last week flying to and from Bristol Airport. Also, as well, make sure you take a power bank for your phone, and maybe also just take a paperback book with you as well if you do get delayed significantly. Now, the airports were busy last week. I'm guessing as well, particularly from the UK as well, maybe people are trying to get away before the whole EES does come into force next Sunday on the 12th of October. If you want to find out all about that, I'll drop a couple of links to useful videos in the description text below this video as well. Go and find out what that's going to involve. I do have all the information for you, but particularly, and just looking at what happened to flights this weekend following Storm Amy, it could be as well with the weather that we have later on this week. And I'm just going to pop on my sunglasses here because the sun is coming out, which is amazing news for the views that lie behind me. It could mean as well, as if we do get rain this week, it could mean the combination of rain and a little bit of air traffic disruption, that you could see your flights being delayed. And seeing what happens over in the UK this weekend as well, do not forget that the airline does have a duty of care for you. So if your flight does get significantly delayed by air traffic control or by weather, while it is not directly the airline's fault, they do have a duty of care for you. So I do have an article all about that, and I have videos about that as well. I'll drop links in the description text below in case you're affected by that later on this week. But we'll get on to the weather later on in this video. And just to add as well that following my flight from Palma Airport last week, when I was at the airport for the best part of, I think it was about 5.5 hours, I did actually put in a claim for compensation following the pilot announcing that our flight was partially delayed due to a technical fault, making that the airline's responsibility. That claim was put in with EasyJet. It was the EU 261 claim form that's available on their website. Listen out to what the pilots say if your flight is significantly delayed. And well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I do get any compensation for my rather significant delay last Tuesday. Okay, so let's move on to, well, I've got quite a car hire warning for you, and I haven't actually talked very much about hiring cars this summer, but as I came through Palma Airport at the end of last week, I did notice quite a significant queue outside the Record and Go car hire office in Palma Airport arrivals. And I did post about this on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group, and I did ask for opinions as well from other viewers who had actually rented from them in the past. I didn't know if this was like a computer glitch on the day or whether it was something that is quite likely to take place. So in fact, Amanda, lovely Amanda, one of the admin team from the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group, came through Palma Airport yesterday and she rented a car from Record and Go, and she confirmed as well, as did some other viewers, on that post that I made on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group, saying that there was actually a long queue at the Record and Go office. And she actually said, I think this is the last time I'm going to be using Record and Go because there are just no staff there. And it wasn't just themselves complaining, it was other people too. So explaining the queues over at Record and Go, and this might actually account for the fact they had such a long wait, Amanda said how it works is that you queue up at the main counter, they give you a code to use a self-service machine, which isn't self-service because someone has to help guide you through it. And then once done, you get sent to the queue in the collection point in the car park area. And also, if you had a query or request, it would be very difficult to raise it during this whole process. So I think you kind of like move through factory method through the whole collecting a car system, but it does seem rather arduous. But I also had, and just for balance as well, I did have a comment from Andrew as well on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group about his experience with Goldcar, because it wasn't just Record and Go. He said, "Hi Alex, we arrived in Palma on the 13th of September at around 10:30 p.m. We then joined a very large queue with Goldcar. We didn't actually get to pick up our car until 1:45 a.m, queuing for over 2.5 hours. I've hired a car from Goldcar and Record and Go several times from Palma Airport over the years and never queued like that before. Our arrival in Cala Ferrero, which is over at Calador, was around 3 a.m. and it turned into a very late night." And this really is a reminder for anybody renting a car. If you receive an email from the car hire company asking for you to upload information, please do it before you get to the car hire hall, because you may well save yourself some time. However, Sarah, also on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group, she said that OK Mobility, they ask to pay extra for fast track, meaning you upload all your documents digitally before you travel. Now, I literally cannot believe this, because as you know, I rent a car quite frequently over in the UK, and I always get this email and it asks me to fill in all the information and upload my documents before I rent a car. So it makes the whole picking up the car process a lot quicker. But it seems that actually OK Mobility have decided to charge for this. And the only way you can actually do this is by buying their total premium cover. And they say on their website, they say avoid unnecessary queues. And they say as well, by getting this premium cover, there's no unnecessary waiting times in the store. It's the fastest way to reduce waiting times and save time for your trip. Make the most of your trip and spend your time on what you plan to do, rather than waiting in a long queue at the car hire office. So just for perspective here as well, and we did have a blow-by-blow account from Amanda yesterday while she was waiting to pick up her car. She was actually really worried about missing her first dinner at the hotel last night, just because she's stuck in the queue. And that's a really valid point. You pay for your holiday, you pay for the meals, however you end up spending a lot of time waiting to pick up your car. And you know, this service shouldn't have to come at a cost. If you do, just looking at OK Mobility, if if you do go ahead and pay for their premium cover, you're actually paying almost 55% more on the cost of car hire rental than you would do if you didn't take out that policy. So you know, like picking up your car, actually at the end of the day it does come at an increased cost, but it's just like checking into a hotel. And when I made all the videos about checking into a hotel and the kind of information that you have to provide when you do check into a hotel, renting a car isn't that much different. You have to provide your passport, you have to provide a driving license, you might have to provide an international driver's permit as well if you're non-European. If you have a non-EU passport, Brits, this does not apply to you. Just take note of that. You also have to, you know, provide a home address, all of this kind of information, which normally, and what I do as well, I upload this information before I rent a car in the UK, and you're not necessarily obliged to take out their insurance either, but that doesn't seem to be the case over here, because, well, David said on that post, he said he had a terrible experience and I would never use them again. They told me I had to buy the premium insurance even though I had an annual policy for this, and wouldn't give me the key to the car until I paid. I'd waited in a long queue, and the guy at the car hire hall told me, I don't care if you take the car or not, look at all the people behind you wanting a car. So I had to buy their premium insurance even though I had specifically booked not to have it, avoid at all costs. But, and I do like to bring a little bit of balance to the video, because another viewer, lovely Sinon, said he is a fan of Record and Go and he's been a customer of theirs since 2016. He said, download their app, become a member, take out their insurance, fill in the license details, go straight to self-check-in. One of their lovely customer service guys or girls will verify your ID with checking your passports and license, pay the fuel deposit, and off you go, all done in 5 minutes on arrival yesterday. So I think that really is the key. I think if you do want fast service, you're going to have to pay for it, you're going to have to take out the premium cover, become a member, otherwise expect quite possibly a rather lengthy wait in the queue. Now, I would love to hear from you guys what your car hire experience has been like in Mallorca. Let me know in comments below if you've had a good experience or whether you've had a bad experience. Help out other viewers. If you want to see more about this as well, head on over to the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group. Go ahead and join. Go and read that post as well and see what other viewers had to say about hiring a car over here in Mallorca. A couple of other top tips though, I have to say as well. Make sure you're well aware of the time that the car hire hall closes over at Palma Airport, because if you are taking a late flight in and it is delayed, you may actually miss picking up your car. Also as well, before even moving your car out of the car hire hall, make sure you take a full video of the car as well. Take photos in the video, record every single bit of that bodywork, and just make sure that any scratches or any damage has been recorded on the form as well. Even if they said it's not a problem, do it anyway so you do not get charged for that. Final point as well, just because you are hiring a car, it's not necessarily the best way for getting around Mallorca, particularly if you're visiting Valldemossa, Deia, Sóller, or even, and you would have seen my video, Cala Mondrago, which is over near Cala d'Or. You would have seen the horrendous queue of cars parked up on the side of the road to go and visit Cala Mondrago. Don't forget, many of the old towns now have residents-only parking, in which case you might want to actually take a bus to some of these areas as well. So go and check out all my content about getting a bus. I'll drop you a couple of links to really useful videos in the description text below, and go and see how that works as well. But in the meantime, I look forward to reading your comments about this, and I'm looking for comments, good and bad too. Which brings me on to, just sidestepping slightly, to the big American presence that we've had in Mallorca this week, and that has been with the arrival of, and I can never remember the name, the USS General R. Ford. The biggest aircraft carrier in the world is currently moored in Palma. You'll see it if you're flying into the island, if you're flying out of the island, if you're going over Palma Bay, have a look out of the window. You should get a bird's eye view of it, and you can't miss it actually if you are flying over over the bay. Check that out, it's here until Wednesday, so take a look out for that. Which moves us seamlessly on over to the cruise news for the week ahead. If you are looking at visiting Palma for a day trip, we do have a total of around 38,000 cruise ship passengers. The busiest week in Palma is going to be the 8th of October with 10,000 cruise ship passengers. The second busiest day is going to be on Saturday with around 9,000 cruise ship passengers. This means that all the major sites will be busy with tours that are taking place, so they may well be days to avoid visiting Palma. However, the quietest days are going to be on Thursday and Sunday with no big cruise liners scheduled to visit. However, we do have some rain moving in on the latter end of this week. Palma could be busy on these days, obviously with holidaymakers looking for things to do and heading on into Palma City. It's going to mean busy bus stops and very busy taxi ranks as well. Moving on to the weather forecast for the week ahead, looking initially at the weather, we are having the tail end of Storm Amy blowing through the island. It's quite breezy today. You can see behind me actually the wind on the water. It's a little bit on the breezy side. We are also expecting rain moving into the islands later on this week. On Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday we are expecting showers. Keep an eye on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook page. I will post about any storms that we get, if it's anything significant that you need to know about. If not, if you're coming over to the island this week, bring a wide mix of clothes. We do have, and it is going to warm up as the week goes on, highs of 26 degrees Celsius. We have evening lows of 16 degrees Celsius. So bring a mix of clothes, bring a light jacket, bring an umbrella, be prepared for all weathers, basically, is my advice for this week, but also be prepared for plenty of sunshine. When we do have rain, it doesn't tend to stick around, and the sun does normally come out quite quickly afterwards, and when the sun does come out, it does feel very, very warm. Okay everyone, don't forget you can find me on the Facebook page and on my Instagram, also called Mallorca Under the Sun, and I'm going to drop a couple of videos appearing both here and here on YouTube. I'll be back next week for another island update, so I'll see you then, but in the meantime, thanks for watching and I shall see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.